So here we go. Here's the On 4K. This is the 4K Streaming Pro, long-awaited streaming device. Of course, this is going to be a Google device, which means it's going to have some of those hands-free features that we'll get into. As far as some of the standout features, 4K UHD resolution, Dolby Atmos, Dolby Vision, Wi-Fi 6, does have a Find My Remote feature, easily cast your photos and videos. This is going to have the Google Play Store as well. As far as some of the main internals, CPU on this is going to be a quad-core Cortex A55, GPU is a Mali G31 MP2, 3 gigs of RAM, 32 gigs of storage, Wi-Fi 6, does have dual band at 2.4 as well as 5 gigahertz, and of course this does have a USB 3.0 port. So again, very excited to unbox this one. I know a lot of folks want to look it up, so here's the UPC. If you want to go ahead and check it out, I'll put a link in the description for this as well if I can find it. Let's go ahead and get it out of the box. All right, so first thing is going to be a quick start guide. Pretty self-explanatory. We're going to have the device itself, and I'll go ahead and I'll leave this for last. So we do have the power adapter, and you can see some of the specs right there. HDMI cable, 2 AAA batteries. Of course, we have the remote control, which looks pretty sweet. So on the remote, of course, we're going to have our power. We have a star icon right there for your shortcuts. Do have a user input, Google Assistant. Do have the settings, navigation, back, home, TV button, volume up and down, mute, channel up and down. We also have some shortcuts for your streaming apps. So you have YouTube, Netflix, Disney Plus, Paramount Plus. And it's ready to go. All right, so here's a look at the device itself. Gotta admit, it's a little bit bigger than I anticipated. Nevertheless, I do feel like it's a nice, solid size. And as I said in the intro video, this looks a lot like the Google Assistant. So about the device, this is the Find My Remote button. So if your remote is lost, misplaced, you can press this and it will go ahead and locate the remote. Now on top, we are going to have some LEDs. These are going to be your indicators. We do have 2 microphones right here built into the front. And on the side, we do have a microphone on and off switch. This is actually a hands-free device, so you can actually talk to it without using a remote. So you can, just for privacy, normally there's a switch to turn it on and off, and you can see that right there. Of course, on the back, we're gonna have our main inputs. We're gonna have reset, gonna have our LAN right here. This is gonna be 10100, so max speed on that is gonna be 100 megabits per second. HDMI out, USB 3.0, and we do have the DC plug. This is a little bit larger than I anticipated, but I do think it looks really good. Let's go ahead, get it set up, and then we can go through the UI. So now it's asking me to choose my services and my apps, and this is where you can kind of tailor what you need. I'm just going to leave everything unchecked. I'm just going to go ahead and leave YouTube on there, and once I see what my memory's like, I'll go ahead and install other applications. So let's quickly run through the user interface, guys. As you can see, this is familiar what we see with Google TV. So if you have the original on, or if you have the Chromecast with Google TV, this is what it'll look like. So you can see up top, it is going to have my account information for you. So these are recommendations. Have the live area. So this is going to be Google TV live channel, quite a bit of channels. But also if you add free apps like your Pluto TV and Zumo TV, that will show up in this area too. We do have our apps. All right, so these are the apps that I have. Library, empty. Over to our settings. Let's go to system. Want to see what kind of storage I have left. So again, this comes with 32 gigs of internal storage, but you can see the total space that I have is 23 gigs, which isn't terrible when you consider what you're going from with the Fire TV stick. So of that, you can see that 739 megabytes is taken up. We do have some cache that we can probably clear out, and you see the available right there. You can see my apps right there. We have free channels from Google TV. We have YouTube app, which these we can go ahead and download. We do have recommendations, anime, all right? So there's a lot of different things down here. But let's get into the nitty-gritty of this device. So of course, some of the new things is that this does have a Find My Remote feature. Let's go ahead and see how that works. All right, so just a couple things while we're here. We do have a Find My Remote feature right here. This is this button in the front. This is going to work up to 30 yards. So essentially, if you lose this guy, lose your remote control, what you need to do is go ahead and press that button, and it should go ahead and play a tone for you. Let's go ahead and test it out. All right, and of course, to stop that, you just press any button and it will detect that a remote has been found, and it will go ahead and stop the tone. All right, so as far as the star button on the remote control, pretty straightforward. If you press it, you are going to see this pop up. So it's going to ask you to create a shortcut. You can press the star button to open your favorite TV app or perform an action. Choose the type of shortcut you want. So below that, it gives you an option to choose an app, or it gives you an option to display input. So do have some options there. For this, I'm going to go ahead and pick an app. And let's say I wanted it to open, I just installed IDA 64. So let's put that, create a shortcut. All right, so now that option is there, guys. So if I hit the star button, you can see IDA 64 pops up. And again, you can do this to customize it. You can do it for inputs. A lot of different options. I do like the implementation. It does have a hands-free mode as well. So remember that we do have this guy right here. You can switch on and off. When you switch it off, you will see the red LEDs. Switch it on, you will see the white LEDs. Also very important, if you went through the setup and you did not do the hands-free during the setup, you will have to go to additional settings just to go ahead and turn that on. Go to your settings, then go to account sign in, gonna go to your account. Next, you're gonna go down to Google Assistant. Click on that, and where it says hands-free mic, go ahead and turn it on. It's going to tell you you're all set. Now you can talk to the assistant hands-free, and it should be good to go. So let's go ahead and give it a shot. Hey Google, what's the temperature like in Tennessee?
In Nashville, it's currently 69 degrees.
Hey Google, is it going to rain tomorrow?
No, it won't be rainy tomorrow in Apopka. It'll be mostly sunny with a high of 92 and a low of 71.
And also the LEDs, those are the volume indicators as well. So if I turn it down, you can see it turns all the way down. Or I can turn it up, and it will go ahead and keep turning it up. You can also use the hands-free mode to go ahead and set your volume. So you can say, hey Google, decrease volume by 10%. All right, so you can see it turn it down a little bit. So overall, this thing's pretty sweet. You can also ask it to do certain things like open Netflix, play YouTube, play certain movies. So there's a lot of functions and so many to go over. And if you want me to, I can do a dedicated video on this. So of course, one of the killing features or the best features about this device is that it does have USB port already in the device itself, which means that if you have a USB flash drive like this, you can go ahead and plug it in directly. If you have an Ethernet adapter that you want to use, you can plug that in as well. Or if you have a USB hub, you can go ahead and plug that in. So we're going to try out all three of these things today, but first let me just go ahead and we'll plug in the hub. And the first thing we want to do is this USB has a lot of stuff on here. It has some applications. So we're going to go ahead and get in here, see if we can get this recognized, and see if we can go ahead and sideload apps on this device. So we're just going to plug into the port right here. All right, we'll give it a second. All right, so you can see that it says hold home for the device information. So let's go ahead and do that. All right, so if you go down, you can see the device right there. So it did recognize the USB right away. You do have two options. You can browse the media on the device, or you can set it up as device storage. So let me go ahead and take a second just to explain the two in detail. So when you browse the device, the USB, it sounds exactly what it is, guys. It lets you go in there, check the files. If you have videos on there, you can check them. If you have apps, you can install them, and so on and so forth. You can browse your files. However, if you set up as device storage, what it's going to do essentially is fuse this USB storage onto your device, and you will not be able to use that storage in other means. So once you fuse it to the device storage, you will not be able to go in and plug it into another device. It will not work. So that's the two differences, and you need to kind of plan how you want to use storage when you plug it up into this device. So let's go ahead and go to browse. All right, so you can see test, total space, test is right here. Let's go ahead and click on that. So there's a lot of stuff on here, but you will need a file manager to go ahead and see everything. So let me go ahead and we'll just search for one in the App Store. So while we install that, I almost forgot to mention that wireless keyboard. So this one right here is an Air Mouse keyboard as well. So this one comes with a dongle. So if I was to plug this in here, and I'm gonna go ahead and switch it on. You can see it's got LEDs on this side, pretty sweet. Also has LEDs on this side. But the cool thing about this is that this is an Air Mouse, so you can see I'm moving it up and down. Works really well on the screen. But also, if I wanted to type, I can flip it over, lights up, and I can start typing. This is my favorite keyboard Air Mouse combo. I'll go ahead and link this in the description. So this is also a mouse keyboard combo. This one's just foldable, as you can see. Pretty sweet, pretty compact, but this one works via Bluetooth, and it's going to be in the same fashion. So go ahead and turn it on. You hold the Bluetooth button, then you can go ahead and pair it as a Bluetooth device. You can use it directly to your device without having to use a dongle. So two pretty sweet options. We're just going to play with MX, and you can see plays beautifully, looks really good. I can skip ahead. Quality on here is magnificent. Let me go ahead and go back. All right, so that's a video that I did a long time ago when the NVIDIA Shield was still pushing updates. All right, we do have a 4K drone footage, I believe. So this is at the old neighborhood. All right, so pretty awesome. So playing files directly from the USB, no issues there. Before I do anything, I want to go ahead and download 3D Mark and do a benchmark, and also IDA64 and see what's under the hood. So this is going to essentially force me to install third-party apps. Remember, this is coming from the USB. So let's jump into installing third-party applications. So the scenario is that you have a USB drive. You have a couple apps on here that you want to go ahead and install. All right, so I'm under my USB. Let's say I wanted to install IDA. I click on it. For security reason, you're currently not allowed to install apps from unknown sources. You can change this into your settings. So go to your settings. All right, let's go to File Manager. And it asks you if you want to install. So they made this a little bit easier, because remember, we had to go into developer options. We had to do a bunch of stuff. But you can see IDA just installed. Let's go ahead and open it. All right, so IDA64. So IDA64, for you guys who don't know, this essentially is a gateway to whatever is under the hood of your device. So on the system, for instance, you can see it has everything, guys. It has platform, the product is Jarvis, RAM 3 gigs, total memory available. Same thing for internal storage. All right, external storage gives you that information as well. Bluetooth version, just a lot of different information. I do have the CPU, so that's going to give you can see all the cores right there. 4 cores, 4X ARMS Cortex A55 at 2000 megahertz, 64 bits as well. All right, it's going to give you a display, your network. So this is going to tell you everything you need to know about your device, guys. Definitely recommend this app. So here's the results of the benchmark of the new on 4K Streaming Pro. So the overall score is a 584, and let me break it down a little bit for you. So the graphics score, that's going to test the actual GPU of the graphics card. So you can see two tests there, 3.6, 3.60, and a 1.6. The physics score is going to test the CPU. The score on that was 1029. And if you go down, you can kind of see where it stacks up against other devices. So frame of reference, this performed better than 15% of devices that made this test. And just to put that in perspective, a lot of devices that took this test does come in at a way higher dollar amount. All right, so the comparison, right? Where does this compare as far as your benchmark to other streaming devices? So the Fire TV Stick 4K Max scored at 801, guys. So a little bit better than this one. So Fire TV Stick 4K Max scored a 737 on the overall graphics score, and it scored 1150 on the physics, while this scored a 1029 on the physics. So Fire TV Stick come out a little bit better as far as your benchmark. So the overall score on the NVIDIA Shield TV is a 4628, which is ridiculous. And the overall score on the Fire TV Cube, this is the 3rd generation, is a 2595. So again, different price range, going to give you different devices. I just feel like this is a better comp to the Fire TV Stick 4K Max. Yes, it might not have scored as high, but when taking into consideration that this has a USB 3.0 port, as well as your smart feature built in, your voice assistant built in, this is a great competitor in my opinion. So next thing I'm going to do is network speed test. I'm going to do 3 tests here. First, I'm going to test it on Wi-Fi over 5G Wi-Fi, see what I'm getting. Then I'm going to test the actual Ethernet port, wire it in to see if there's any changes, to see what I'm getting there. And lastly, I'm going to test with one of these adapters right here to see if there's any speed difference between the 2 Ethernet ports. So first, let's go ahead and do a Wi-Fi speed test. All right, so download there is 344 megabits per second, and upload should get around 20 or so. And you can see up top with this speed, I can stream HD 4K as well as 8K videos. Now let's go ahead and plug it into the onboard network port. I'm gonna go to my settings. I'm going to make sure that my Wi-Fi is turned off. All right, go ahead and turn it off. So again, remember that this is 10100, so this is going to max out at 100 megabits per second, and that's holding true. You can see I'm about 97 megabits per second on the download. And upload, I should see something similar of what I'm paying for, around 20 or so. And what I'm going to do, just to make sure there aren't any outside factors, I want to go ahead and plug this in directly into the USB port. So this is me connected via USB to an Ethernet cord. Downloads, I'm getting over 430 megabits per second. Upload, getting about 24, which is standard. So what this is telling me that unlike some of the other devices where the USB is the bottleneck, this one, USB is actually faster than the onboard network, which isn't normally the case. In this case, if you have the option to go USB to Ethernet, this will work out better than Wi-Fi in this case, and also the onboard network. So if you have any questions, please drop it in the comment section below. I do plan on doing a couple follow-up videos just to address those questions. Also, if you're new to the channel, subscribe, smash the notification bell. Thank you for watching, and I'll catch you on the next one.